For this next hands-on activity, please grab dish soap, a straw, water, food coloring, an index card or paper, and 3 cups or bowls. Elin Anderson and Steve Pauls from the AIM Center will be exploring geometry and art with bubbles. Get ready to blow some bubbles.
Welcome to your second play break, exploring geometry and art with bubbles. My name is Elin Anderson, and I'm here with my colleague Steve Pauls, and we're from the AIM Center for Math and Science Education. And at AIMS, our values are inclusivity. We believe that voice, perspective, and progress in math and science belong to all. Empowerment. We are committed to creating a community of learners equipped with math and science knowledge to help understand and shape their world. Collaboration. We want to create environments where collaboration and partnerships thrive. We are human-centered. We respect and celebrate all people as beautiful and complex beings, where emotions, mistakes, personalities, families, and curiosities are assets for learning. We welcome innovation. We are always embracing new opportunities, imagining possibilities, and leveraging creativity to transform educational systems. And diversity. We are committed to promoting diversity and ensuring that every voice is welcome, heard, and valued. So let's get started exploring bubbles. So I'm going to hand it over to Steve, who's going to share a little bit about bubbles all around us.
Thank you, Elin. An easy way to gather children's excitement is by connecting with the world around them. Nature is a wonderful resource to directly connect our science and our mathematic content to everyday experiences. What we're going to do today is we're going to experiment with soap bubbles and bubble patterns. And we see those patterns all throughout nature, from biological cells to the honeycomb or spiral patterns of a sunflower. Bubbles also are connected with mathematics. The geometric shape of a soap bubble is not by accident, but involves a tremendous amount of science and mathematics. Matter of fact, there's a field of mathematics that deals with thin films and minimal surface areas to provide the soap bubble. Scientists use mathematics to study the shape of bubbles, from within spiral forms to geometric shapes with the forms, shapes that continually show up in our natural world. We can even use the color which is reflected via soap bubble to be able to calculate the thickness of the soap film itself. How cool is that?
Very cool.
Architects have for thousands of years looked at nature for inspiration in their building designs. Bubbles are no exception. Now with stronger, lighter weight materials, architects have been able to create amazing structures inspired by bubble geometry around the world. Above, you see the images that show an igloo that looks like it's a bubble designed in bubble wrap. You have soap bubble inspired designs in nature, which can be used as conference centers. Or in the bottom right-hand corner, you see a building that you might have seen at the Olympics. It's called the Water Cube. It is the Beijing's National Aquatic Center in China, all inspired by bubbles. We at the AIM Center try to take those common everyday experiences that we all have as children and find new ways of exploring the STEAM concepts involved. We believe that the more experiences a child or adult has around similar concepts will provide an increased sense of excitement, of interest, and build a solid foundation onto which more advanced ideas can be developed. So what we're going to do today during our play break is to explore the A found or art found in STEAM. We're going to use our 3D bubbles and turn them into beautiful pieces of 2D art representing geometry, science, and mathematics of these soap bubbles. So Elin, if you could explain a little bit of the materials that we need, and we'll get to playing.
Great. Yeah, so let's get ready to play. So some of the materials you will need are some dish soap, some cups or containers, small containers, straws, water, some food coloring, paper, and some measuring spoons. And while you gather those, I'm going to show you how to do, we're going to show you how to make a bubble snake before we get into our other bubble art, which is really fun and something that you can explore by yourself with children. It's just a really fun thing to do. And the directions for this will be in the one-page guide that we have on our website with the bubble art. So really fun activity to do too. So let's get to it. I'm going to switch to my webcam. And so for the bubble snake, you need a water bottle that has the bottom cut off, a sock, an old sock or an old piece of cloth that you don't mind, you know, getting food coloring on, and a rubber band, some water, soap, and the food coloring. So I'm going to go ahead and put about 2 tablespoons, maybe a little more than that. I'm going to put that in the bottom of your container. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of dish soap. And then you can just put the sock over the opening here. And put food coloring here and then dip it. But we're going to, and that might be good for little children because it'll make a big snake, bubble snake. But I'm going to push this in. So I have 2 ends that are smaller. I'm going to put the sock around that. Just put the rubber band on so it stays. And then let's see, I'm going to take some of my blue and red. A little bit there. Use open because we're going to use those more. And then I'm going to dip that in with the food coloring in the water. And then you just gently blow. And it makes a bubble snake.
What I love about this experiment is that it does things that you don't expect. It's a wow experiment that you can blow a bubble snake that ask your kids, your students, your students what do they think is going to happen? What are the bubbles going to look like? And you can make a bubble snake that is 2, 3, maybe even 4 feet long, just by one dip into the solution. Really is quite amazing.
Yeah, it's really fun. It'd be really fun to do outside. The other thing that you can do, since we are exploring art and thinking about making the imprint of the bubbles, you can take a piece of paper and roll it up so you have a cylinder. Just one more piece of tape. And then you can dip that in and blow the bubble snake into the paper. And you can see as the bubbles start to pop on the paper, it leaves an imprint. I'm going to blow some from the other side. You can see that's got a little wet, but you can see the bubbles starting to imprint on the paper. You can almost see, you can see the pattern that it's leaving. So I'm gonna just let that, I'm gonna put this aside and then I'll unroll it a little bit later. And then we'll go to our bubble art, our other, well, that was bubble art, but some more bubble art. So if you have your materials, please play along with me. So I'm going to do 2 cups. And hopefully, Steve, can you see those?
I can.
Okay, great. And I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of water. I have my handy measuring. This is nice because it has tablespoons measured out. 2 tablespoons of water in each. And again, we're talking about measurement. So your kids are having to measure the amount of water. Maybe starting with a 1-to-1 ratio first, but then playing around with that. And so then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of the soap. So 2 tablespoons of the soap. And you can explore with, all different types of food coloring, maybe a little bit of paint. I'm going to put some blue, about 10 drops. I did a really big squeeze in that. And I'm going to put some green in this one too, so the blue and green, so it comes out a little bit darker for you to see. So again, kids can play around with the color. And then in this one, I'm going to put the red, which actually really gets purple. And again, about a good squeeze of the blue.
And again, you're talking about color combinations with your students. What happens if you mix red and blue together? What color do you think is going to
Yeah.
result.
Give it a good stir with your straw. Again, we're mixing 3 different things: the food coloring, the soap, the water. What happens? And so I'm going to start with, well, maybe I'll start with the blue. So you're just going to blow gently into the straw, and I have my paper handy here, a piece of paper. So I'm going to blow. And I think I might need to put a little bit more dish soap in. See if I can catch. Oh. There we go. Sometimes it takes it a while for the bubbles to want to come up.
Well, there is a mixing. If you've made bubbles before, often it takes a little bit of time for the water and the bubbles to mix, the soap to mix.
To mix.
So letting it set for a little while and giving a chance for for that solution to be made does help.
Yeah, you're right. And it does, the more that I mix it and the more that you play with it, it gets, now I see it getting foamier. Oh, there's that. Oh, no.
Another way to do that would be to maybe take a little piece of paper towel over the top of your straw and secure it with a rubber band, and then much like the bubble snake, blow bubbles directly onto your paper. Many variations that we can do.
Yeah. So that was some of the green and the blue.
And as you blow the bubbles, be sure to examine the geometry, how the bubbles are packing together, what different shapes are being formed between the bubbles. All kinds of questions that we can ask.
This is a good thing to do outside because it can get a little messy, but it's fun. So again, you can explore and play around with different mixtures. different amounts of water. Let's see how the bubble snake is doing. So there's still some bubbles that haven't popped yet, but you can see that makes a really interesting design.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's interesting how it's blank in the center, but then where the bubbles popped on either side, it's sort of making it almost looks like, I don't know, tie-dye to me or something. But I really like how you can see the bubbles, the patterns. So again, it's hard to really, we just showed you, but I hope you can really get into this and explore and have some fun. Wanted to show you a few examples of ones that Steve tried. Again, is this with the bubble one?
Bubble snake, yeah.
So.
And I just blew the bubbles right onto the page and let them dry, and you get those beautiful patterns, and you can overlap different colors, different shapes. You never know what's going to appear.
Yeah, and then another fun thing to do is to have children explore the negative space. I was playing around with the bubble art the other day, and again, it took me a while to get it fully covered with the bubbles, but then before I did the bubbles on the paper, I cut out some just other pieces and made a design. I made a flower and taped them on. So when you take them off, it leaves a pattern or a design, and this is a way to have children explore negative space, which is really fun. I think this is really fun to do. So there you have a nice nice flower design. Here's another one that I was experimenting with, taping some pieces on. So some really cool things you can do. And Steve, do you have a few more examples of some bubble art?
I do. Here are two examples of some bubble art that was done. You notice the image or the photograph on the right side. You have some examples of bubble art where you've added someone has added a few extra leaves, and certainly these are things that you could do in class, or as Elin said, always good to do this outside, especially if you have 30 children blowing soap bubbles. All would make a great playground activity. But you see on the right, with an addition of a few leaves, you have turned your bubble patterns into beautiful hydrangea flowers. These flowers even represent the different colors of the hydrangea that you can grow by changing the chemistry of the soil. The flowers will change the colors from pink to deep blue, depending on how acidic the soil is. The more acidic the soil, the bluer the flower is going to be. So the image on the right makes use, and you can represent these flowers, and I love that picture. The image on the left makes use of that negative space that Elin was talking about, that the lack of color or pattern can be just as effective in art as the reverse. And that's an important concept in art. So there are many things we can do with this simple activity. Children have had experiences with bubbles, probably many experience with bubbles, and we can add to that. We can make a rich learning experience based around the idea of playing with soap bubbles. There's so much science here that we can explore. Think about the questions you might ask your students or the different experiences you might try within the classroom. Have your students try different soap solutions, different amounts of dish soap versus water. Here we did a 1-to-1 mixture. We said if we let it set a little bit longer, you get better bubbles. That's something you could try. You can even add glycerin, or I've seen recipes where you add a little bit of corn syrup to the mix to make those bubbles last longer. You can try different geometric shapes of wands. You can try different size of containers using openings. Use natural dyes such as purple cabbage to create your art. Leave room to allow both you and your students to be creative. Ask questions, try new things. It's important to leave room to try something and maybe fail. Successful failure is an important part of the learning process for all of us. Elin, could you describe a little bit about our pager,
Yes.
one pager?
Yeah, definitely. If you want to explore this activity more, and believe me, it's never the same experience twice. We have a one-page guide on our website, aimcenter.org/resources is where you'll find it, and it has all the information you need to continue to explore this activity. There's a list of materials, some helpful questions you can ask your children or students while you're doing it, and links to the directions for the bubble snake and some more ideas for bubble art. So we hope you really take advantage of that and access that. Also, we want to make sure that you join us in the fall when we continue our next series of hands-online webinars. They're going to start up again in August, and they are free to you. All you need to do is go to our website and sign up for those, again, at aimcenter.org. And those have been really, really fun. If you liked what you just did and want to do some more playing, please check us out. And really thank you for joining us today.
If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. The folks at the AIM Center love questions. We love creative ideas and always willing to learn something new. We're here to help in any way we can. If you want to send us pictures or post pictures of your bubble art, we'd love to see them, see what you would do with them. Thank you so much for joining us.